I had 2 abortions in the early 1970s. And I know for a lot of you, especially you young people, that seems like a really long time ago. But I'll tell you, it seems like yesterday in many ways to me. At that time, abortion was only legal in California and New York. And I lived in Massachusetts, so I went to New York. God be with New York. God changed the hearts of those people in New York. It was some things about the abortions I will never forget. I was pregnant both times by the same man. He did not want to get married. If my parents even found out that I was sexually active, let alone pregnant, it would kill them. These were enough reasons for me to choose abortion. My boyfriend went with me for the first one. He did not know about the second one. I remember the procedure itself and feeling very removed from my body when it was being done. I remember nothing after the first one, but after the second one, I remember trying to console another woman who was crying after her procedure. I stayed in a hotel in New York City that night after the second abortion, and I could not get warm. I called the front desk and I asked them to check the heater. There was nothing wrong with it. I was freezing. Chills were passing through my body like a knife. It was a feeling that I would get repeatedly over the years until I had healing. The next day on the bus going home, I felt a huge emptiness inside, and I cried out to the God that I was told about as a child. I said, "Never let me ever do this again." I did get pregnant again by the same man. It sounds crazy, but I kept trying to put those babies back in my womb. When I found out I was pregnant again, I was really desperate. So desperate that I went to church. They had a guest speaker that day, and she talked about adoption. God had answered my cry to not do abortion again. This time I moved to California, and my son was adopted here in San Francisco. For years, I tried to make something of my life. I married a man I met in group therapy. We were both mourning the loss of a child, his by divorce, mine by adoption. I did not recognize my losses by abortion. I had another son, and my stepson came to live with us. I was still not happy. I did not know what was wrong. I thought it was about the adoption, but an astute pregnancy center counselor said that it was more likely about my abortions. I didn't want to go there. I worked and I worked to be the perfect wife and mother and stepmother. I fought depression and thoughts of suicide while at the same time constantly overachieving at my work. I was still miserable, and my children and my husband knew that what people saw on the outside was not really who I was. By now, I had become a believer, and I was in church, but there was still this deep, dark secret. I took the training to be a pregnancy center volunteer. I was told I would have to go through a post-abortion Bible study before I could counsel. I think they made that rule when they saw me coming, because I was tough and I didn't want to deal with that past. I thank God that they made that rule. Finally, through this Bible study, I began to see how the abortions had affected me. I let myself feel the incredible grief I had for the babies I had aborted. I saw how my relationships with my husband and my children were marred because I could not let myself get close to them. I could only punish myself because of what I had done. I saw how the anger I had at myself was being taken out on my husband and my children. I did begin to heal, and the truth that Jesus had paid the price for me with his blood began to be real to me. I did the study again a second time a few years later and accepted his complete forgiveness and restoration. I knew then, as I know now, that my babies are in heaven with Jesus, and I will see them there someday. Eventually, I did tell my parents about my birth son and about the abortions. My mom never forgot any of my children. When she was 94 years old in a nursing home, she told me she had had a dream that the Irish ladies in the next room to her were taking care of all the aborted babies. I was able to share with her that she would meet them in heaven before I would, and she loved them for me. We held hands and we wept over the loss that we both felt so intensely. I seldom get that chilled feeling anymore since I've had the healing that Jesus brought to me, even when standing up here in front of all you. I thought for so long that I never should have been born, but now I know my purpose for me is to lead other women in healing Bible study. And I'm starting a Bible study this coming Monday, if you remember to pray for me and for those ladies that are going to start that study. I have met and I know so many women and men like myself who struggled for years and did not know why. And that is why I will be silent no more.